Vishnupada Shtarashatashmaranta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Dev ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Vishnupada Shtarashatashmar Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Vishnupada Shtarashatashmar Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Vishnupada Shtarashatashmar Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Vishnu Vishnupada Shtarashatashmar Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Maha-Bhagavat Srila Goraksharas Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nityal Vishnu Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupa Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Patadash Raghunath Shar Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Surup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gopal Shada Vrinda ki jai. Nam Acharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Sarva Abhishta Bharata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Shri Radha Kund Shyama Kund ki jai. Shri Muna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai. Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya vacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratishe Namaha. Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apeta Krityam Tvaipayano Virahakatara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedustam Sarva Bhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiyayet Shrinvatang Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Vedantasto Yabhadrani Vedunoti Suritsatam Nashta Praishvabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Tavai Vasmi Na Jivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantam Bhakta Vihina Aparada Lakshai Kshiptashtakamaditaranga Madhe Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanaya Vinda Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Dhanyavad pranams. Nagaraji Didi, Prajumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Madhavi Didi, Raseshwari Mataji. Yeah, Prajumna Prabhu, you asked me a lot of questions about these kinds of rituals. I don't know very much about any of this kind of stuff. I've never done any of this kind of stuff, so I'm like not the best person to ask about like different customs and things like that. It's not really what we do here in the mosque, all these different kinds of, and I've never been trained up in any of that. Oops, you probably know much more about me than these kinds of things. Oh yes, I did get enough rest. Thank you for asking, Mantramurti Mataji. Got plenty of rest last night. Okay. So, where are we? Chapter 4. So I'm just going to go over the last, what is it we did yesterday, right? Let's see, what are we doing today? Yeah, okay, so I'm going to just read the 25 verses. Soma pacifies the Prachetas and offers Marisha. So now Raj inquires about Visarga, which is the secondary creation. I wish to know about... It's funny he asked that though, because he's already been explained twice, hasn't it? But he wants to, I guess, know further also. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So the creation of demigods, demons, human beings, nagas, beasts, and birds during the reign of Swayambhuva Manu, which you spoke about briefly in the third canto. Please, I want to know about that, and I want to know about the Lord's potency by which he brought about the secondary creation. And Shukadeva Goswami praised Parikshit's inquiry and replied as follows. Link. In order to explain how Daksha carried out the secondary creation, the way in which he took birth again after giving up his body with a goat's head is explained. So now we're carrying on after that whole story. When the Prachetas emerged from the waters, they saw that the entire surface of the earth was covered with trees. Note, the same incident is narrated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4:30, chapter 4, verse 30. Prachetas returned from their austerities. Their father, Prachina-Bharhi, retired to the forest. Thus, there was no king to see to the management of the world, and the earth became overgrown with trees. The Prachetas were angry due to long austerities. Desiring to burn the trees to ashes, they generated wind and fire from their mouths. Soma felt sympathy when he saw the trees burning, because he is the maintainer of all herbs and trees. To appease the anger of the Prachetas, he spoke as follows. Do not kill these poor trees. Your duty is to wish the citizens, all the praja, and all prosperity, and to act as their protectors. The indestructible Lord, the master of all Prajapatis, all progenitors, has created these trees and plants with fruits and grains as eatables for other living beings. By nature's arrangement, non-moving beings are food for the moving beings. Beings without legs are food for those with legs. Animals without hands are food with animals with hands. And four-legged animals and plants are food for the human beings. Your father, Prachina-Bharhi, and the Supreme Lord have ordered you to generation. Therefore, how can you burn to ashes these trees, which are needed for the maintenance of your subjects? Follow the path of your predecessors, your father, grandfather, and great-grandfathers, by protecting the subjects and controlling your intense anger. The king protects his subjects, including trees, like parents protect their children, eyelids protect the eyes, a husband protects his wife, a householder maintains beggars, and a learned person is a friend of the ignorant.
seeing all beings as the Lord's abode, as he is situated within their hearts. See all beings as the Lord's abode, as he is situated within their hearts as the Supersoul. By such vision, you will satisfy the Lord. One who subdues the sudden appearance of his anger by inquiring into self-realization transcends the influence of the modes. There is no need to burn these trees any longer. Let the remaining trees be happy. Except Marisha, who was raised by the trees as their daughter, as your wife. Daksha's birth and initial activities. So the Prachetas marry Marisha. After thus pacifying the Prachetas, Soma gave them the beautiful girl born of Pramlocha Apsara, and they married her. The Prachetas beget Daksha in the womb of Marisha. Daksha filled the 3 worlds with living entities during the Chakshusha Manvantar. Please hear from me how Daksha, who is very affectionate to his daughters, created different types of living entities through his semen and mind. With his mind, Prajapati Daksha first created all kinds of demigods, demons, human beings, birds, beasts, aquatics, and so on. But when he saw that the population was not increasing, he went to the sacred place of Aghamarshana, near the Vindhya mountains. There he executed very difficult austerities and satisfied the Supreme Lord. Daksha offered the Haṁsa-guhya prayers to the Lord. Now I shall explain those prayers and how the Lord was pleased with Daksha for those prayers. Note, the Haṁsa-guhya prayers were not composed by Daksha, but were existing in the Vedic literature. Interesting. The first 2 verses of the Haṁsa-guhya prayers, and now we're going to read all of the rest except for the last one, just because it's too long. So, my respectful obeisances unto the Lord, who is transcendental to Maya and its products, who is real knowledge, who is the controller of the living entities and Maya, who is unseen by persons whose intelligence is absorbed in material objects, and who is self-manifest and surpassing all material measurements. Nivritta Manaya. Oh, I forgot to offer pranam to Indira Mataji. Dandavat pranam to Mataji, who will be watching a little bit later on. So the Lord's knowledge is unlimited, while the Jiva's knowledge is limited. The Supreme Controller and Friend. Let me do this again. So the Lord, who is transcendental, who is transcendental to Maya, who is real knowledge, the Controller, unseen and self-manifest. The Lord's knowledge is unlimited, while the Jiva's is limited. As the sense objects cannot understand how the senses perceive them, so the conditioned soul, although residing in his body along with his friend, the Supreme does not recognize the friendship, the sakyam of that friend, and cannot understand how he directs his senses. Omniscient and unlimited. I think we read this yesterday also, right? Yeah. Matter cannot, so because they are only matter, the body, the life airs, the senses, the elements, and the sense objects cannot know themselves or other things, or the jiva. But the jiva can know these items and the 3 qualities that form the root. He can also know Paramatma. But the jiva doesn't know the omniscient Lord, because he is unlimited. Note, in the liberated state, the jiva can know Paramatma, but he cannot know the Supreme Lord, because the Lord's spiritual qualities are unlimited. The Lord can be known in 2 aspects: his impersonal aspect, which is easy to understand, and his form with qualities, which is difficult to understand. Daksha is first describing the easily understood aspect. So now he goes on to explain the Lord's personal and impersonal forms. Okay, so let's find this. verse 26 there. Okay, so now we're learning about the impersonal aspect. Yado paramo manaso nama rupa rupasya drishta smriti sampramoshat ya iyate kevalaya sasangstaya haṁsaya tasmai shuchisadmane nama. When one's consciousness is completely purified of the contamination of material existence, gross and subtle, without being agitated as in the... when one's consciousness is completely purified of contamination of material existence, gross and subtle, without being agitated as in the working and dreaming states, and when the mind is not dissolved as in shushupti, deep sleep, one comes to the platform of trance. Then one's material vision and the memories of the mind, which manifest in names and forms, are vanquished. Only in such a trance is the Supreme Personality of Godhead revealed. Let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is seen in that uncontaminated transcendental state. Purport. There are only two stages of God realization. One is called sugeyam, or very easily understood, generally by mental speculation, and the other is called durgeyam, understood only with difficulty. Paramatma realization and Brahman realization are considered sugeyam, but realization of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is durgeyam. As described here, one attains the ultimate realization of the personality of Godhead when one gives up the activities of the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing. Or in other words, when mental speculation stops. This transcendental realization is above sushupti, deep sleep. In our gross conditional stage, we perceive things through mental experience and remembrance. And in the subtle stage, we perceive the world in dreams. The process of vision also involves remembrance and also exists in a subtle form. Above gross experience and dreams is susupti, deep sleep. When one comes to the complete spiritual platform, transcending deep sleep, he attains trance, Vishuddha Sattva, or Vasudeva Sattva, in which the personality of Godhead is revealed. Atashi Krishna Namadi Grahyaminda. Oh God, let me look at the book for this. Yeah, sorry. Well, every now and then there's places which... Actually, I wonder if we took it out of this view. Yeah, it's messed up in this view also. So just give me a second. I want to see what's in the book. Chapter 4. Verse. Okay, I found it. Atashi Krishna Namadi na bhavir grahayam indriyai. As long as one is situated in duality on the spiritual platform, gross or subtle of the original personality of Godhead is impossible. Sevan mukhe hi jivadho swayam eva spuratata. But when one engages his senses in the service of the Lord, specifically, when one engages the tongue in chanting the Hare Krishna mantra and tasting only Krishna Prasad with a spirit of service, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed. This is indicated in this verse by the word Shuchi Sadmani. Purified. During service with one's senses, one's entire becomes Shuchi Sarma, the platform of uncontaminated purity. Daksha, therefore, offers his respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is revealed on the platform of Shuchi Sarma. In this regard, the Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes the following prayer by Lord Brahma from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 10.14.6. Tatapi Brahman Mahima Gunasyate Vibodham Arhati Amalantar Atmabhi. One whose heart has become completely purified, my Lord, can understand the transcendental qualities of your Lordship and can understand the greatness of your activities. Manishinontar hridisani veshitam sashaktivirnava bhishchatrivridhi vahnim yata daruni panchadashyam manishaya nishkarshanti gudam savai mama shesha visheshamaya nisheda nirvana sukhanubhuti Sarvanama Sacha Vishvarupa Prasidatam Aniruktatma Shakti. Just as great learned Brahmins who are experts in performing ritualistic ceremonies and sacrifices can extract the fire dormant within wooden fuel by chanting the 15 Samidhani mantras, thus proving the efficacy of the Vedic mantras. So, those who are actually advanced in consciousness, in other words, those who are Krishna conscious, can find the Supersoul, who by his own spiritual potency is situated within the heart. The heart is covered by the 3 modes of nature and the 9 material elements: material nature, the total material energy, the ego, the mind, and the 5 objects of sense gratification. And also by the 5 material elements and 10 senses. These 20 elements constitute the external energy of the Lord. Please meditate upon the Lord, who is situated as the Supersoul, Paramatma, within the core of the heart. May that Supersoul be pleased with me. The Supersoul is realized when one is eager for liberation from the unlimited varieties of material life. One actually attains such liberation when he engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord and realizes the Lord because of his attitude of service. The Lord may be addressed by various spiritual names which are inconceivable to the material senses. When will that Supreme Personality of Godhead be pleased with me? Purport. In his commentary to this verse, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur uses the word durvigayam, which means very difficult to realize. The pure stage of existence is described as 728, wherein Krishna says, Yesham tantagatam papam jnānanam punyakarmanam te dvandva mohanirmukta bhajante mam dhridavrata. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives, and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 9:14, the Lord says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dhridavrata namasyantascha ma bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead after transcending all material impediments. Therefore, Lord Krishna also says in the Gita 7:3, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin man veditatpataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. To understand Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one must undergo severe penances and austerities. But since the path of devotional service is perfect, by following this process of pure devotional service, one can very easily come to the spiritual platform and understand the Lord. This too is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:55, wherein Krishna says, Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavanyaschasmi tattvata tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tar anantaram. One can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead as He is only by devotional service. In full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Thus, although the subject matter is durvigaya, extremely difficult to understand, it becomes easy if one follows the prescribed method. Coming in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is possible through devotional service, pure devotional service, which begins with Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu. In this regard, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes a verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 285. Pravishtakarna randrena swanam bhava saroruham. The process of this hearing and chanting enters the core of the heart, and in this way, one becomes a pure devotee. By continuing this process, one comes to the stage of transcendental love, and then he appreciates the transcendental name, form, qualities, and pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, a pure devotee by devotional service is able to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead despite many material impediments, which are all various energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Making his way through these impediments, a devotee comes directly in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. After all, the material impediments described in these verses are but various energies of the Lord. When a devotee is eager to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he prays to the Lord, Ainanda tanuja kinkaram patitamam vishame bhavam pudo kripaya tava para pankaja stitadhuli sadrisham vichintaya. O son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Being pleased with the devotee, the Lord turns all his material impediments into spiritual service. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes a verse from the Vishnu Purana. Ladini sandhini to ladata kari mishra tvarjite. In the material world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is listed as tapakari, which means causing miseries. Everyone hankers for happiness, but although happiness originally comes from the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the material world, because of material activities, the pleasure potency of the Lord becomes a source of miseries. Lada tapakari. False happiness in the material world is a source of distress. But when one's endeavors for happiness are redirected toward the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, this tapakari element of misery is vanquished. An example given in this connection is that extracting fire from wood is difficult. But when the fire comes out, it burns the wood to ashes. In other words, experiencing the Supreme Personality of God is extremely difficult for those devoid of devotional service. But everything becomes easier for a devotee, and thus he can very easily meet the Supreme Lord. Here the prayers say that the form of the Lord is beyond the jurisdiction of material form and is therefore inconceivable. The devotee prays, however, My dear Lord, be pleased with me so that I may very easily see your transcendental form and potency. Non-devotees try to understand the Supreme Brahman by discussions of neti, nisheda nirvana sukhanubhuti. A devotee, however, simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, avoids such laborious speculations and realizes the existence of the Lord very easily. One second, let me just check to make it working. Oh, shoot. Okay, it's coming and going, isn't it? I'm using the, what is it, my Wi-Fi connection because there's no power. Sorry, I meant to say I'm using my mobile hotspot. Yeah. Yadyan niruktam vachasa nirupitam diyakshabhirva manasotayasya ma bhut svarūpam gunarupam hitat sa vaigunapaya visarga lakshana. Anything expressed by material vibrations, anything ascertained by material intelligence, and anything experienced by the material senses or concocted with the material mind is but an effect of the modes of material nature, and therefore has nothing to do with the real nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is beyond the creation of this material world, for He is the source of the material qualities and creation. As the cause of all causes, He exists before the creation and after the creation. I wish to offer my respectful obeisances unto Him. Purport. One who manufactures names, forms, qualities, or paraphernalia pertaining to the Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot understand Him, since He is beyond creation. The Supreme Lord is the creator of everything, and this means that He existed when there was no creation. In other words, His name, form, and qualities are not materially created entities. They are transcendental always. Therefore, by our material concoctions, vibrations, and thoughts, we cannot ascertain the Supreme Lord. This is explained in the verse Atashi Krishna Namadi na bhavir grahyam indriyai. One second. Okay. So it doesn't give this whole reference here. The Prachetas Daksha herein offers prayers unto the transcendence, not to anyone within the material creation. Only fools and rascals think God a material creation. This is confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 9:11. Avajananti mamudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Therefore, one must receive knowledge from a person to whom the Lord has revealed Himself. There is no value in creating an imaginary name or form for the Lord. Shripad Shankaracharya was an impersonalist, but nevertheless he said, Narayana paro vyaktat. Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not a person of the material world. We cannot assign Narayan a material designation, as the foolish attempt to do when they speak of Daridra Narayan, poor Narayan. Narayan is always transcendental, beyond this material creation. How can he become Daridra Narayan? Poverty is found within this material world, but in the spiritual world, there is no such thing as poverty. Therefore, the idea of Daridra Narayan is merely a concoction. Daksha very carefully points out that material designations cannot be names of the worshipful Lord. Yan yan niruktam vachasa nirupitam. Nirukta refers to the Vedic dictionary. One cannot properly understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead merely by picking up expressions from a dictionary. In praying to the Lord, Daksha does not wish material names and forms to be the objects of his worship. Rather, he wants to worship the Lord who existed before the creation of material dictionaries and names. As confirmed in the Vedas, yato vacho nivartante, aprapya manasa saha. The name, form, attributes, and paraphernalia of the Lord cannot be ascertained through a material dictionary. However, if one reaches the transcendental platform of understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he becomes well acquainted with everything, material and spiritual. This is confirmed in another Vedic mantra, Tam eva viditvati mritum eti. If one can somehow or other, by the grace of the Lord, understand the transcendental position of the Lord, one becomes eternal. This is further confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 4:9. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyakta deha punar janma naiti mam eti sorjuna. One who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. Simply by understanding the Supreme Lord, one goes beyond birth, death, old age, and disease. Srila Shukadeva Goswami therefore advised Maharaj Parikshit in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 2.15. Tasmad bharata sarvatma bhagavan ishvaro hari shrotavyas kirtitavyascha smaratavyas cheta bhayam. O descendant of King Bharata, one who desires to be free from all miseries must hear, glorify, and also remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supersoul, the controller and the savior from all miseries. Yasmin yato yena cha yasya yasmai yadyo yatha kuru karyate cha paravaresham paramang praprasiddham tad brahma tad hetur anayad ekam. The Supreme Brahman Krishna is the ultimate resting place and source of everything. Everything is done by him, everything belongs to him, and everything is offered to him. He is the ultimate objective, and whether acting or causing others to act, he is the ultimate doer. There are many causes, high and low, but since he is the cause of all causes, he is well known as the Supreme Brahman, who existed before all activities. He is one without a second, and he has no other cause. I therefore offer my respects unto him. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the original cause, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasva prabhava. Even this material world, which is conducted under the modes of material nature, is caused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who therefore also has an intimate relationship with the material world. If the material world were not a part of his body, the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Cause, would be incomplete. Therefore, we hear, Vasudeva Saram Iti Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. If one knows that Vasudeva is the original cause of all causes, he becomes a perfect Mahatma. The Brahma Samhita, first verse, says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. The Supreme Brahman, Tad Brahman, is the cause of all causes, but he has no cause. Anadiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, Govinda, is the original cause of all causes, but he has no cause for his appearance as Govinda. Govinda expands in multivarious forms, but nonetheless they are one. As confirmed by Madhvacharya, Ananya Sadrisha Bhavad Eko Rupa Dabedata. Krishna has no cause nor any equal, and he is one because his various forms as Swangsha and Vibhinangsha are non-different from him. Yachaktayo vadatam vadinam vai vivada samvada bhuvo bhavanti kurvanti chaisham muhuratma moham tasmai namo nanta gunaya bhumi. Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the all-pervading Supreme Personality of Godhead, who possesses unlimited transcendental qualities. Acting from within the cores of the hearts of all philosophers who propagate various views, he causes them to forget their own souls, while sometimes agreeing and sometimes disagreeing among themselves. Thus he creates within this material world a situation in which they are unable to come to a conclusion. I offer my obeisances unto him. Oh wow, this is a long purport. Since time immemorial, or since the creation of the cosmic manifestation, the conditioned souls have formed various parties of philosophical speculation. But this is not true of the devotees. Non-devotees have different ideas of creation, maintenance, annihilation, and therefore they are called vadis and prativadis, proponents and counter-proponents. It is understood from the statement of Mahabharata that there are many munis or speculators. Tarko pratishta sutayo vibhina nasab rishiryasya matam nabhupinnam. All speculators must disagree with other speculators. Otherwise, why should there be so many opposing parties concerned with attaining the supreme cause? Philosophy means finding the ultimate cause, as Vedanta Sutra very reasonably says, Atato Brahmajigyasa. A human life is meant for understanding the ultimate cause. Devotees accept that the ultimate cause is Krishna because this conclusion is supported by all Vedic literature and also by Krishna himself, who says, Aham sarvasva prabhava, I am the source of everything. Devotees have no problem understanding the ultimate cause of everything, but non-devotees must face many opposing elements, because everyone who wants to be a prominent philosopher invents his own way. Sorry, let me reread that. But non-devotees must face... You know what, I think I need to stand up. Non-devotees may face many opposing elements because everyone who wants to be a prominent philosopher invents his own way. In India, there are many parties of philosophers, such as the Dvaitavadis, the Advaitavadis, the Vaisheshikas, Mimamsas, Mayavadis, and Swabhavadis, and each of them opposes the others. Similarly, in the Western country, there are also many philosophers with different views of creation, life, maintenance, and annihilation. This is undoubtedly a fact that there are countless philosophers throughout the world, each of them contradicting the others. Now, one might ask why there are so many philosophers if the ultimate goal of philosophy is one. Undoubtedly, the ultimate cause is one, the Supreme Brahman. As Arjuna told Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 10:12, Param Brahma Parang Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavam Purusham Shashvatam Divyam Adidevam Ajam Vibhum. You are the Supreme Brahman, the ultimate, the supreme abode and purifier, the absolute truth and the eternal divine person. And you are the eternal divine person. You are the primal God, transcendental and original, and you are the unborn and all-pervading beauty. Non-devotee speculators, however, do not accept an ultimate cause, sarva karana karanam, because they are ignorant and bewildered concerning the soul and its activities. Even though some of them have a vague idea of the soul, many controversies arise, and the philosophical speculators can never reach a conclusion. All of these speculators are envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 16 verses 19 to 20, Tam aham dishta kururan samsareshu naradhaman kshipam yajasramashubham asurishvevayonishu asurim yonimapana mura janmani mam aprapyaiva kaunteya tato yantadhamam gatim. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence into various demoniac species of life. Attaining repeated birth among the species of demoniac life, such persons can never approach me. Gradually, they sink down to the most abominable type of existence. Because of their envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, non-devotees are born in demoniac families, life after life. They are great offenders, and because of their offenses to the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord keeps them always bewildered. Kurvanti chaisha muhur atma moham. The Supreme Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, purposely keeps them in darkness, Atma Moham. The great authority, Parashar, the father of Vyasadeva, explains the Supreme Personality of Godhead thus. Jnana Shakti Balaishvarya Viryate Jang Sasheshata Bhagavat Shabda Vachyani Vinaheyar Gunadivi. The demoniac speculators cannot understand the transcendental qualities, form, pastimes, strength, knowledge, and opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which are all free from material contamination. Vinaheyar Gunadivi. These speculators are envious of the existence of the Lord, Jagar Ahur Anishwaram. Their conclusion is that the entire cosmic manifestation has no controller, but it is just working naturally. Thus they are kept in constant darkness, birth after birth, and they cannot understand the real cause of all causes. This is the reason why there are so many schools of philosophical speculation. Okay, now I'm moving up my computer to standing position. Astiti nastiti vastu nishtayor ekastayor bina viruddha dharmano avekshitam kinchana yoga sankyayo samam param hyanukulam brihattat. One second. There. One second, guys. Oh, that's better. Okay. There are two parties, namely the theist and the atheist. The theist, who accepts the supersoul, finds the spiritual cause through mystic yoga. The Sankhyaite, however, who merely analyzes the material elements, comes to a conclusion of impersonalism and does not accept a supreme cause, whether Bhagavan, Paramatma, or even Brahman. Instead, he is preoccupied with the superfluous external activities of material nature. Ultimately, however, both parties demonstrate the absolute truth, because although they offer opposing statements, their object is the same, the ultimate cause. So their object is the same ultimate cause. They are both of the same Supreme Brahman, to whom I offer my respectful obeisances. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Actually, there are two sides to this argument. Some say that the Absolute has no form, he is nirakar, and others say that the Absolute has a form, sakar. Therefore, the word form is the common factor, although some accept it as asit or astika, whereas others try to negate it, nasti or nastika. Since the devotee considers the word form, akar, the common factor for both, he offers his respectful obeisances to the form, although others may go on arguing about whether the Absolute has a form or not. In this verse, the word yoga sankyayo is very important. Yoga means bhakti yoga, because yogis also accept the existence of the all-pervading Supreme Lord and try to see that Supreme Soul within their hearts. As stated in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 12:13:1, Avastita tar gatena manasa pashyanti yam yogina. The devotee tries to come directly in touch with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas the yogi tries to find the Supersoul within the heart by meditation. Thus, both directly and indirectly, yoga means bhakti yoga. Sankhya, however, means physical study of the cosmic situation through speculative knowledge. This is generally known as jñāna shastra. The Sankhyaites are attached to the impersonal Brahman, but the absolute truth is known in three ways: Brahmaite Paramatmeti Bhagavan iti Shabdate. The absolute truth is one, but some accept him as impersonal Brahman, some as a supersoul existing everywhere, and some as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The central point is the absolute truth. Although the impersonalists and personalists fight with one another, They focus upon the same Para Brahman, the same absolute truth. In the Yoga Shastras, Krishna is described as follows: Krishnam Pishangambaram Ambujeksham Chaturbhujam Shanka Gadadudayudham. Thus, the pleasing appearance of the Supreme Personality of Godhead's bodily features, his limbs, and his dress are described. The Sankhya, however, denies the existence of the Lord's transcendental form. The Sankhya Shastra says that the Supreme Absolute Truth has no hands, no legs, and no name. Yanama rupa gunapani padam achakshurashrotram ekam advitiyam api nama rupadikam nasti. The Vedic mantras say apani pado javano grahita. The Supreme Lord has no legs and hands, but he can accept whatever is offered to him. Actually, such statements accept that the Supreme has hands and legs, but deny that he has material hands and legs. That is why the Absolute is called Aprakrita. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has a Satchidananda Vigraha, a form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, not a material form. The Sankhites, or Jñānis, deny the material form, and the devotees also know very well that the Absolute Truth Bhagavan has no material form. Ishvara Paramakrishna Satchid Ananda Vigraha Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. Krishna, who is known as Govinda, is the supreme controller. He has an eternal, blissful spiritual body. He is the origin of all. He has no other origin, for he is the prime cause of all causes. The conception of the Absolute without hands and legs and the conception of the Absolute with hands and legs are apparently contradictory, but they both coincide with the same truth about the Supreme Absolute Person. Therefore, the word Vastu Nishtayo, which is used herein, indicates that both the yogis and the Sankhites have faith in the reality. But are arguing, so they have faith in the reality, but are arguing about it from different viewpoints of material and spiritual identities. Para Brahma, oh shoot, my mic was covered. Para Brahman, or Brihat, is the common point. The Sankhites and the yogis are both situated in the same Brahman, but they differ because of different angles of vision. The directions given in the Bhakti Shastra point one in the perfect direction, because the Supreme Personality of Godhead says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhakti abhijanati. Only by devotional service am I to be known. The Bhaktas know that the Supreme Person has no material form, whereas the Jñānis simply deny the material form. One should therefore take shelter of the Bhakti Marg, the path of devotion. Then everything will be clear. Jñānis concentrate on the Virat Rup, the gigantic universal form of the Lord. This is a good system in the beginning for those who are extremely materialistic, but there is no need to think continuously of the Virat Rup. When Arjuna was shown the Virat Rup of Krishna, he saw it, but he did not want to see it perpetually. He therefore requested the Lord to return to his original form as two-armed Krishna. In conclusion, learned scholars find no contradictions in the devotee's concentration upon the spiritual form of the Lord. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha. In this regard, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam says that less intelligent non-devotees think that their conclusion is the ultimate, but because devotees are completely learned, they can understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal. How long is this purport? This is kind of a long purport. Should we read it? We have 3 minutes. Could we read this in 3 minutes? Let's try it. Yo no grahartam bhajatam padamulam anamaro urupo bhagavan ananta namani rupani cha janma karma bir bheje samahyam parama pasidatu. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is inopulent, who is devoid of all material names, forms, and pastimes, and who is all-pervading, is especially merciful to the devotees who worship his lotus feet. Thus he exhibits transcendental forms and names with his different pastimes. May that Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose form is eternal and full of knowledge and bliss, be merciful to me. Purport. Let me check the internet's still working. Looks like it is. In regard to the significant word anama-rupa, Sridhar Swami says, prakrita nama-rupa rahitopi. The word anama, which means having no name, indicates that the Supreme Personality of Godhead has no material name. Simply by chanting the name of Narayan to call his son, Ajamil attains salvation. This means that Narayan is not an ordinary mundane name. It is non-material. The word anama, therefore, indicates that the names of the Supreme Lord do not belong to this material world. The vibration of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is not a material sound, and similarly, the form of the Lord and his appearance and activities are all non-material. To show his causeless mercy to the devotees as well as to the non-devotees, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in this material world with names, forms, and pastimes, all of which are transcendental. Unintelligent men who cannot understand this think that these names, forms, and pastimes are material, and therefore they deny that he has a name or a form. Considered with scrutiny, the conclusion of non-devotees who say that God has no name, and that of devotees who know that his name is not material, are practically the same. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no material name, form, birth, appearance, or disappearance, but nevertheless, he has taken birth, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:6. Ajo pisan avyayatma bhutanam ishvaro pisan. Prakritim sam adishtaya sambhavamyatmamayaya. Although the Lord is unborn, Aja, and his body never undergoes material changes, he nevertheless appears as an incarnation, maintaining himself always in the transcendental stage, Shuddha Sattva. Thus he exhibits his transcendental forms, names, and activities. That is his special mercy toward his devotees. Others may continue merely arguing about whether the Absolute Truth has a form or not, but when a devotee, by the grace of the Lord, sees the Lord personally, he becomes spiritually ecstatic. Unintelligent persons say that the Lord does nothing. Actually, he has nothing to do, but nevertheless, he has to do everything, because without his sanction, no one can do anything. The unintelligent, however, cannot see how he is working and how the entire material nature is working under his direction. His different potencies work perfectly. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samash cha vyadikash cha drishyate, shaktir vividhaiva shruyate, swabhaviki jnāna kriya cha. That's from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.8. He has nothing to do personally, for since his potencies are perfect, everything is immediately done by his will. Persons to whom the Supreme Personality of Godhead is not revealed cannot see how he is working, and therefore they think that even if there is God, he has nothing to do or has no particular name. Although the Lord's name already exists because of his transcendental actually, the Lord's name already exists because of his transcendental activities. The Lord is sometimes called Guna Karma Nama because he is named according to his transcendental activities. For example, Krishna means all attractive. This is the Lord's name because his transcendental qualities make him very attractive. As a small boy, he lifted Govardhan Hill, and in his childhood, he killed many demons. Such activities are very attractive, and therefore he is sometimes called Giridhari, Madhusudan, Aganisudan, and so on. Because he acted as the son of Nanda Maharaj, he is called Nanda Tanuja. These names already exist, but since the non-devotees cannot understand the names of the Lord, he is sometimes called Anama, or nameless. This means that he has no material names. All his activities are spiritual, and therefore he has spiritual names. Generally, less intelligent men are under the impression that the Lord has no form. Therefore he appears in his original form as Krishna, Satchid Ananda Vigraha, to carry out his mission in participating in the battle of Kurukshetra and pastimes to protect the devotees and vanquish the demons. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashchaya tajushkritam. This is his mercy. For those who think that he has no form and no work to do, Krishna comes to show that indeed he does work. He works. He works so gloriously that no one else can perform such uncommon acts. Although he appeared as a human being, he married 16,108 wives, which is impossible for a human being to do. The Lord performs such activities to show people how great he is, how affectionate he is, and how merciful he is. Although his original name is Krishna, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, he acts in unlimited ways, and therefore, according to his work, he has many, many thousands of names. All right. So tomorrow we will read the last of these Haṁsa-guhya prayers, which is this verse 34. And then we will listen to the Lord's instructions to Daksha and finish the chapter. All right. Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol. Jai Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Madan Mohan Ju Ki Jai. Tilal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Gosai Maharaj Shila Gurudev Ki Jai. Tilal Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Gosai Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashatara Shatashmad Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Mahabhagavat Shila Goksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Shila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Nitil Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath Shara Gosai Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanand Arshada Vrinda Ki Jai. Nama Chai Shila Hairas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandal Gaura Mandal Vraja Mandal Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kund Ki Jai. Shri Amuna Devi Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai. Shri Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya Ki Jai. Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai. Samagata Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaiva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandavat Pranams. Thank you for joining me in this reading, and see you tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Hari Bol. And we've already made it well past the halfway point in this book. Let's see how to show you. We're going to finish the 4th chapter tomorrow, and then we only have the 5th chapter. So we're we don't have that much left. We're getting through this pretty quickly, huh? We have this much left.